Hello, and welcome to On Record, the only show of the LBL where you will receive the latest news, stats, and scores every Wednesday at 5 p.m. My name's Chad Kleman. Thanks for tuning in today. We got a lot to get to. But first, I'd like to thank the VFW of Ohio Charities for being the proud official sponsor of the LBL. If you'd like to know what they do in your community and what you could do to help them, go to vfwohiocharities.com. Coming up, I'd like to touch on a few things. Possibly some new GMs, who is the best of Big Three in the LBL, and my last second shot. And I'm going to throw in something that's kind of near and dear to my heart at the end there. So tune in to see what that is. Game finals from last week. We had the Pistons, 65, ended up falling short to the Pistons, 75. And then the 419ers had 77, who fell really short to the Mustangs, who had 100. We had another blowout. The Lions fell to the Kings, 82-113. And we had a close game. Wolves ended up beating the Liberty 69-65. Weekly categories for this past week, we had Adam Bevier with 36 points. He shot 16 of 29 and 55% from the field. What a game there, Adam. Good job. TJ Pennell had 15 rebounds. He led all leaders in rebounds there. And Matt Ayers, 10 assists, led everyone in assists. So good job, guys. Player of the week, Tyler Layton. It was a close one. There was a few I had to pick between, and ended up being Tyler. You had a really good game, man. You're always very consistent. But last week you had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 53% from the field. So good job, Tyler. I'm looking forward to see more from you. The Pistons in Game 1 ended up falling short, like I said, to the Vandals. One thing I noticed about the Vandals, though, every single week, Jake Schwiefer is there as the first player to shoot around, to get his head right, to get his body right. He's stretching, shooting, and the beginning of this game, he was on fire. Him and Brett were shooting around, and he couldn't miss. And that really showed going into the game. At the end of the quarter, he shot from beyond the arc, got fouled, ended up hitting 2 of his 3 free throws, and he kind of continued that on to the second half. Connor Hockett made his debut for the Pistons after being traded from the Kings. And at the end of the game here, with 1:12 left, Dominique Dunn ended up hitting a sweet step back 3 to put the Vandals up, and 69-60. But the Pistons weren't done. Mars tried to keep him in it, hit a long 25-footer to bring the Pistons within 4, but it just wasn't enough. The Vandals ended up pulling away, win by 10. The question, though, about these teams here is who will be the GMs next season? Pistons GM Pat Hackney will step down after season 5 and will return to the draft player pool. Pat Hackney led his team to become the first LBL champion, and he averaged 10 points and 4 assists for that first season. For his career, he's averaged a total 9 points, and his overall record as a GM is 18-26. Jake Schwiefer will step down as the Vandals GM in hopes of teaming up with another All-Star such as Jalen Myers of the Liberty. Jake Schwiefer has played in 1 championship game in Season 3 and fell short. He averages 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists as the GMs for the Wombats in Season 1 and the Vandals going forward. Possible replacements for the two. I think for Pat, 2 really good replacement options are Preston Warman and Alex Vanderbush. They're both great on the court, and they're smart and know how to lead a team. I think it would be good to see one of them in those key spots there. For Jake, the replacement I think could be Dylan Davis or Michael Bennett. They both obviously are some of the best players in the LBL. Dylan Davis has some of the craziest passes I've seen, and is very smart. I think he can lead a team to a good record. And Michael Bennett, he's just so physically dominant, man. And with his athleticism and the skill set he brings to the table, there's no doubt in my mind he can be a GM for the Vandals. So we have some decisions to be made, but for now, Week 8, playoffs. Let's see how they do. Game 2, we have the 419ers and the Mustangs. The Mustangs ended up being the 419ers, 77-100. But Adam Bevier had a great game for the 419ers. 36 points, 5 rebounds, 55% from the field. But he was outdid by the Mustangs and their big three. Martin Glasper finished the first half on fire, hitting 3 straight threes from deep and carried that into the rest of the second half. Really just went on a run and dominated the 419ers. Now, who is the best big three in the league? That's a debate. One might say it's the Mustangs. A.J. Cecil for this game had 29 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Martin Glasper had 28 points, 5 assists, shooting 65% from the field. And Tyler Layton had 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, who was our player of the week. It was hard to pick between those three, but I think I had to go with Tyler there. The other teams that possibly have, comparable big three are the Kings' big three, Jamison, TJ, and Justice. They average together 17 points a game, 4 assists a game, and 56% from the field. Another good option would be the Lions' big three. They have Malik Osborne, Mike Flipsy, and Jake Schmelz. They average 17 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, shooting 53% from the field. The Mustangs' big three combined are averaging 18 points a game, 2 assists a game, and 47% from the field. So, there's an argument to be made for all three. Who do you think? Let us know. Game 3. Not much of a game. The Lions were without their leading scorer and rebounder, Malik Osborne. The Lions were also without their leading assist man, Jacob Fakosh. So they had a lot of ground to make up there against the Kings, and it proved too much of a tall task for them as they ended up losing by 31. So Jamison Bradley had 28 points, and TJ Pennell had 18 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 steals. It's quite a difference from last week. I think together they had 9 points last week. It just shows you how versatile they are and how they can kill you from any angle. So what a game by TJ, though. 18 points, 15 boards, and 5 steals. Wow. He's another MVP candidate along with Malik. It's going to be interesting to see who wins that one. Also, worth noting, fan favorite Troy Kaufman had his first points of the season. Ended up with 5, so awesome job, Troy. Looking forward to see some more scoring out of you, hopefully. On to the next game, the last game of the night, the Wolves and the Liberty. Excuse me. The Liberty started out strong, took a big lead in the first quarter, but ultimately fell in the end to the Wolves, 69-65. Jared Schweefer had the best game of his GM career. He had 18 points and 3 steals. Terrell Clark had 23 points, 6 assists. Michael Bennett finished with 18 points and 10 boards. They were all just clicking. They found a good rhythm, and they worked well together, shared that ball. And I think they might have found a groove. They've been a little inconsistent throughout the season, but I think when they're at full go, they can be a team to be reckoned with. So Jalen Myers for the Liberty, though, he tried to put up a game, 21 points, 11 rebounds. Benjamin Cameron had his second in a row good game with 18 points and 13 rebounds after being a little absent in his first appearance with the Liberty. The big outlying stat here was that the Liberty had 5-0 boards to the Wolves' 13-0 boards. That's huge. And in doing that, that was a big reason why the Wolves also shot 18 more shots. And you put up more shots, you're going to make, at least 30% of those, 30% more points than, what Liberty had. So now I think where, the stats don't tell the whole story for Jared Schweefer is his defense. He's quick sliding on his feet laterally. He's good with his hands, and he has the offensive talent around him to supplement his lack of offense on the court. But as you can see, when he does score, he puts his team in a real good position to win. So if I think we can see 10 to 15 points from him, and as long as he can keep pressing that stellar defense, I think the Wolves will be okay. Next week's matchups, the Kings and the Liberty, the 1-seeded Kings and the 6-seeded Liberty. I think, now last week I predicted that the Kings were going to lose their last 2 games. That was also, I was thinking that Malik and Jacob would play last week here for the Lions. They didn't, but I'm still going to hold to that prediction. I think the Kings will fall to the Liberty, 95-80. I think Jalen is going to come out hungry. He doesn't want to go 3-5. I think that losing record is not something he wants on his resume. So he's going to come out hungry. He's going to pull out the win, and his team's going to go 4-4. You got the 2-seeded Mustangs versus the 5th-seeded Vandals. I think the Mustangs are going to come out, do what they've been doing all season, rout the Vandals 91-82. We got the 7-seeded 419ers versus the 8-seed Pistons. It's going to be a low-scoring affair, but I think the 419ers will pull it out 75-61. And what could be the game of the week, Lions, who's the 3-seed, and the Wolves, who's the 4-seed. Going to be a close game, but I think ultimately the Lions are going to come out on top as long as they're full go with Malik and Jacob, 89-82. So this next segment here, it's going to get maybe a little wild, but it's called the last second shot. It's supposed to be off the wall a little bit, and I think this also can hold very true. Jared Schwiefer has overperformed during his unexpected stint as the Wolves GM. Now, taking everything into consideration, he was not expecting to be the GM of the Wolves at the beginning of the season. It was a draft night decision, and he took over the role with grace. He drafted a questionable team, but he did get arguably the best player in the league with Michael Bennett. So that was obviously a great pick. But along the way during the regular season, he's made some great trades. The best trade was for Logan Wiss, who averages 9 points and 4 rebounds this season. He traded him with the Kings. Though his offense hasn't been the greatest, like I touched on, the offensive pieces that he has around him does perfect to supplement his defense. He's usually guarding the best offensive player on the opposing team, and he can slide laterally pretty quickly, good with his hands, and he usually gives that offensive player a tough time. So I think all in all, he has a winning record. I think the expectations weren't so high, and they're playing smooth. So I'd like to see them continue playing well. I'd like to see Jared continue doing well. So that wraps that up. The episode 3, for the most part. We got next episode. I want to discuss possible MVP candidates, season 5 playoff predictions, and this will all be happening next Wednesday, March 17th at 5 p.m. Every Wednesday at 5, tune in and see what's going on around the LBL. Don't forget to visit us online. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the LBL, or just type in LBL up in the search bar. We're one of the first things to pop up. And you can go to our website, check out all these stats that I was telling you about at lbllegends.com. It's a beautiful site. Go and check that out. You can also find our games on there and this podcast. So if you're going through YouTube, go check out our website. Also, every game, every Sunday, live on YouTube. Watch our games at 5, 6, 7, or 8 o'clock. You can either, like I said, go to our website, go to LBL TV, find our games, or go to YouTube and just type in LBL, one of the first things to be there. Now, very last thing, I said I was going to touch a little bit that's on something that's very near and dear to my heart. Last night, Dwayne Wade played his last home game. And today he will play his last ever game. This player is the reason I love basketball. He's the reason I got into it. he was the first champion I seen win and hoist up that trophy. So he was a 3-time NBA champion. He's been to the NBA Finals 5 times. He won the 2006 Finals MVP, which was the best performance since Michael Jordan in the Finals. He is a 13-time NBA All-Star, a 3-time NBA All-Defensive Player, and the leading scorer in 2009 and in 2010 amongst the NBA. He also is the all-time leading scorer, steals, and assist man for the Heat, franchise leader in all those. So he had an amazing career. Can't wait to see what he does after the NBA. And I'm excited for his son to get up in the NBA too. It's going to be fun seeing what he can do. Thank you, Dwayne Wade, for your amazing career, and I look forward to see what you do after. And to everyone else, I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in today. Peace.